this is the horror show. This week, of course, we are doing Phantasm 2. The ball is back. That was the tagline for the movie. Directed by Don Coscarelli, composed by Fred Myrow and Christopher L. Stone. Now, last week. The first one, if I'm not mistaken, it was Fred Myrow and Malcolm Seagrave. But I'm not entirely sure why Seagrave wasn't able to come back, but Fred Myrow did. Reggie Bannister plays Reggie. Angus Scrimm plays the tall man. Paula Trioun plays Liz, who's a new character. And James Gros plays Mike. It came out in 1988, about 10 years, or 9 years after the 9 years after the first one came out. It's about an hour and 37 minutes, so an extra 10, roughly. And the idea of the movie is, released after 7 years in a mental hospital, Mike convinces his old pal Reggie to join forces with him to hunt down and destroy the tall man once and for all. Mike's visions lead the two to a quiet little town when a horde of flying killer balls aim to slice and dice their gruesome way through everyone. Now, this says Mike convinces his old pal Reggie to join forces with him. Well, I suppose kind of he convinces him. Let's just say Reggie loses everything, and now kind of the only explanation he has is what Mike is telling him. So if Mike's crazy, and the whole movie is just in Mike's head or whatever, or like all the things he's saying, all the crazy stuff that he's saying is just in his head, Reggie is now just with him, because Reggie's he lost his family, his house, and the only explanation is what Mike's selling. I like this movie. I find this movie fascinating. In only one real aspect, and that's so Don Coscarelli made the first one, and it ended up being a pretty good hit. And Universal sometime later was like, "Hey, we would really like it if you could if we could help you make a sequel." And Don's like, "Oh, that'd be pretty cool." Universal's like, "Okay, you can do anything you want, but there's one thing you cannot do. You cannot bring Michael Baldwin back to play Mike, because he was buns. He was not good. Or at least that's what they say anyway. I thought he did a great job, but they thought otherwise. So they wanted the studio wanted Don to find someone else to play Mike, and there was a bunch of people that auditioned. It's funny, Brad Pitt actually auditioned for Mike, but then James Gros ended up winning the job, which is funny thinking, like, this is 88, but, like, what if Brad Pitt played Mike in this? Like, I probably wouldn't really mind. I probably would really like it, but yeah. Fun fact about this movie is that this is the lowest budget for a Universal horror movie in the 80s, but it's also the largest budget that a Phantasm film had. And its budget was like $3 million, so that must have been the lowest for like Universal movies that decade, but it was the largest for Phantasm, because I guess the other ones costed like a lot less than that. I know 4 definitely costed a lot less, because we'll talk about 4 when I get to 4. But anyway, let's start getting into the nitty-gritty details. So the story for me is a 5 out of 5. I think it's a really good story. See, the idea is that this is like 10 years after, roughly 10 years after the events of the first movie, and Mike's out of the asylum, and he's free now, and he has these visions, and he sees this girl, and he's like, if I don't do anything, that girl's gonna die, kind of thing. And so he tries to tries to tell Reggie that, like, hey man, we need to go, and Reggie's like, no, you're crazy, right? Then they go back to the house, but then, like, as they're pulling into the driveway, the house blows up, and that's when Reggie believes him. And they start driving, trying to find the tall man, but they end up getting to, I forget what it was, like Paragorn, or, I don't know if it says it here. The town, they find the town, and, they find the girl, and so then, like, the three, technically there's four of them, because Mike and, Reggie pick up a stranger. Yeah, hitchhiker. And the four of them try to defeat the tall man. Well, then again, it's like, this is the three that I first said, because the hitchhiker is only kind of there. There's, like, only one reason she's there, and it's like, if you watch the movie, you'll know why. It's, be a good time for Reggie, I guess. But I really like the story. I like all the side characters. There's this father character that's in the movie, and I thought his character and such was pretty interesting. I'm about to bleed into the next category. There's a scene in the movie that I just really love because I love how it looks. So the father, after, you know, like a priest father, after like a funeral, is about to like stab a body, and then stabs the body because he doesn't want the body to come back to life. And the widow sees that happen and then like kind of freaks out and faints, and the father turns around with that kind of face, and the camera's like zooming, well, not zooming in, but like moving as he's turning around. It's just a really funny, that would be like a great meme, like a great template for a meme, I think. But yeah, anyway, characters is a 4 out of 5 for me, and the only real reason why it's a 4 is just because it probably would have been better if Mike was able to come back, as Michael Baldwin was able to come back to play Mike, because then when you watch the third one, Mike's the actor is able to come back in the third one, because then Don's just independent with the rest of it. It's kind of weird seeing the two of them, and it's like, it'd still kind of be the same way if it was Brad Pitt, but I probably would feel a little more better about it because Brad Pitt's amazing, and Brad Pitt is still relevant today. I don't really know what James Gros is doing today, if he's still around today. No offense, but like, if it was Brad Pitt, it'd probably be like a 4 out of 5, 4.5 or whatever. The music is a 5 out of 5 because the music in a Phantasm movie is always great. The setting is a 5 out of 5. I really like, it's starting to kind of go through the desert and whatnot. And the town that they go to looks like what Morningside would have looked like if the tall man destroyed it, because they look like very similar places, except one's still alive and the other one's dead, or, you know, alive. So I think it's good. It's only a problem when they keep doing that kind of thing over and over again, which they kind of do it again in the third one. This kind of, I'll talk more about the third one next week, but I guess just to keep it short, I think the third one just try to be like, oh, it's just a cash grab, but you kind of continue the story. There's like one subplot that continues the story, but other than that, one subplot's the same movie. But I'll talk more about it for next week. The atmosphere is a 5 out of 5. I think all the music and all the other stuff, you know, fits perfect. And I think this is one to definitely watch, but like, you know, don't watch this first as your first ever Phantasm. I hope you watched the last one, and I hope you would watch the rest of them, just because, you know, it's for the context and the story, you know. IMDb has this movie as a 6.4 out of 10. I have it as a 4.8 out of 5. Could it be a little worse? It could be. You could. But, I think it's fine being, that. Kind of proves, not proves, but, you know, it's my thought, my point being about how this movie is, you know, it's good, but it's not as good as the first one, kind of thing. A lot more good with the effects, So it's nice seeing, largest budget for a Phantasm movie, so you'd like to think that the effects are really good, and they are. The dwarves look great when you see their faces, because you only see a dwarf's face in the first one, and it was someone who like just died earlier in that movie. But like this is like the dwarves that you see onward are like, they look like they're much older, and like they look like, yeah, these are dwarves. You get what I'm saying. Hopefully. And do I have any gripes against this movie? No. As I said in the last one, each Phantasm movie has a plot twist ending, and as long as it's different, then I'm fine with it. The first one had a really nice plot twist ending. The second one is kind of similar, but it's a bit different. And it's like, whoa, what's gonna happen next now, right? And we'll talk about the third and fourth and fifth one onward, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this one. I'm Sam, Flying Kite. This is the horror show, week 15. I probably did not say that earlier. Phantasm 2, The Ball is back. And is this a movie that you should watch? I think so, but you gotta watch the other ones too. If you just got that and watched it, see, I think the one thing about the Phantasm movies for the most part is that you don't need, I guess to a degree, you don't need to watch the first one to watch the second one. It's useful, but you don't need to, because there's a kind of recap in the very beginning, and each one kind of has a recap. But like, I think it could work. I think the only one where that doesn't really work would be the third one, because you just pick up where you left off. But anyway, I'll see y'all next week for Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. Bye.